By the end of this video, you'll be able to simplify algebraic expressions. So stay tuned and watch this video till the end. So let's talk about it. What is an algebraic expression? An algebraic expression is something that contains letters. I would say variables. We're advanced now. We don't say letters, we say variables. It contains variables. If you haven't watched the previous videos, please go watch those. Okay, we did discuss what variables are. It contains variables. It contains numbers. And it also contains our operators. So you should be able to be familiar with all our operators. We only have 4 of them, which is our plus, our minus, our multiplication, and division. That's an algebraic expression. There's no equal sign. Because the minute you put an equal sign, we're now moving from algebraic expressions to algebraic equations. And that's a video that's still coming up, okay? So you need to understand that whenever we're dealing with algebraic expressions, there's no equal sign. So an example of an algebraic expression could be 5x plus 2. That's an algebraic expression. It could also be something like 6x squared plus 3x. That is an example of an algebraic expression. So let's look at it. Whenever we have algebraic expressions, we need to do the following. We need to identify our like terms. Identify like terms. That is the first thing we need to do. Then the second thing we need to do is we need to group our like terms. Group like terms, and then we simplify. That's literally all the 3 things that you need to follow, or all the 3 steps that you need to follow to be able to simplify algebraic expressions. So an example, we just continue, just put this in the middle. So an example for this can be 2x plus 3y, let's say minus 2y. Okay, so that's the first example that we have. So we need to identify our like terms. Okay, so based off of this, we can already see that our like terms is positive 3y and negative 2y. Those are our like terms. If you still haven't watched the video where we discussed like terms, please go have a look at that. So now that we have that, we need to group them. So what we'll still have is our 2x, which will stay the same, plus then we can group our like terms, which is 3y minus 2y. And then from here, we can simplify. So let us go ahead and simplify. So our 2x will stay the same. And then if we look at this section here, if we say positive 3 minus 2, so what is 3 minus 2? 3 minus 2 will give us 1, and then our variable stays the same, which is y, and that is our answer. So you could leave it as 2x plus y. These two are the same, because you should be able to know by now that if you have, let's say x, or you have y, this has an invisible 1 next to it. This has an invisible 1. So whether or not you say 1x or 1y, it's literally the same thing. You don't have to put the 1. You can literally just leave it as it is. So hence why I said that just leaving it like this is correct, or you could just put it like that, whichever one you prefer. If you're one of those people that just doesn't want to make a mistake, leave that 1 over there and you should be able to be fine. So let's have a look at another example. Another example could be, let's say we have, let's start with the same one. So let's say that minus x plus 5 minus y. So from here, we need to identify, okay? Identify our like terms. So we can see that, okay, we have 2x and negative x. Those are the first, that's the first pair of like terms. Our second pair could be positive 3y and negative y. So those are our like terms. So let's group them. Okay, that's the first group, plus our second group, 3y minus y, and then whatever's left, which is 5, because it does not have anything else. Guys, just let me know if this color is working, because I kind of feel like I should not use green. If it's unclear to anyone, just please, leave a comment down below so I know not to ever use it again. So we have this 3y, which is the blue section, and then we have the red section, which is the 2x minus x. So that's that part. And then the 5 does not have a like term, so we can just leave it like that. I don't know, but I just kind of thought of Shrek just looking at this color. It's a bit weird, but it just came to my mind. Then from here, we can simplify our groups. So if we look at the first bracket, we have 2x minus x, okay? So from here, we can just simply say 2 minus 1. Please, please, please. The common mistake that students make, is you just say your answer is 2x. That is incorrect because we can already see, we literally discussed it earlier in the video where we said there's an invisible 1. So it still applies over here as well. There's literally an invisible 1 over there. There's an invisible 1 over there. So technically speaking, this is saying 2 minus 1. So if we say 2 minus 1, we get 1. So we can put down the 1 and then our variable will stay the same. That's the first group done. Then our second group, we have 3y minus y. 3 minus 1, which will give us 2. Our variable will stay the same, plus 5, and that's it. You've simplified your algebraic expression. It's as easy as that. Common mistakes that students make is forgetting that 1, because someone else over here could have just said 3y, because there's 3 minus nothing, and then they just leave it like that. Please do not make that mistake. If you just see a variable on its own, it does not mean there's no 1 in front of it. So please, please, please make sure that you do not make that mistake. I hope this is making sense so far. Let's look at a few more examples before we end. So the next example could be something like 6a minus 2a plus 4b. So we need to first identify our group. So in this case, we can tell that our group would be this, because that's our two like terms, okay? Just take this up. Then from here, we can see that, okay, we have 6 minus 2. 6 minus 2 will give us 4a plus 4b, and that's it. That's our answer. I always do this next to the answer because it's just a bit easier, especially when you have something where your formula or your method is so long and you get to your answer. It's just easier for the marker to just go look at what your answer is if you have this little arrow, just like that. It just is easier for them to identify where your answer is. Okay, so that's why I do that. I hope this made sense. Let's look at one last example. So the key to this is making sure that you understand your like terms. That is key, like it's the key to everything. Minus 6. So in this example, we can group. So this one, we can group our 3x and our positive 2x. Please take the sign with it. Don't just take the 2. You need to take the sign that's attached to that specific term. Then our next pair is positive 4 and minus 6. They both don't have any variables. They're just numbers. So they're considered like terms. Okay. So we can now group everything. That's 2x. And then we can group our 4 minus 6. So if we start with the first group, 3 plus 2 will give us 5x. Now, it's very important that if you have different, let's put our positive just where it is, right? And then we put a bracket. Reason being is because we can see that if we say 4 minus 6, that should give us negative 2. Yes, that's negative 2, okay? We put our -2 over there. Now, we can already see that we can't leave our answer like this. Okay, so what we then have to do is we need to multiply this positive inside so that it can change, because the positive times the negative will give us a negative. So our answer will essentially be 5x minus 2, and that is our answer. So signs are very, very, very important. Someone else could have just said 5x minus 2 and just, not 5x minus 2, 5x plus 2, and just leave it like that. It's very important that if you're going to have a negative or there's a negative outside, you do that, okay? So that you don't make a mistake when it comes to your signs. And just out of recap, you should be able to know that a negative multiplied by a negative will yield a positive, and a negative multiplied by a positive will equals to a negative. That is very important. Okay, so I hope this made sense. If you are unsure and you're in the exam, you could just put a invisible 1 over there, and just in your calculator say +1 multiplied by -2. It'll still do the same thing. If you're unsure about whether or not a positive times a negative is a positive, or whatever, if you're unsure. But if you already know this, then you should be able to tackle sums like this. So that's it for this video, guys. I've shown you how to simplify algebraic expressions using like terms, making sure that you group them, follow the steps that I've written down, and you should be able to tackle it. Okay, so these are the steps that we discussed. You identify your like terms, you group your like terms, you simplify. It's that straightforward. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm sure now you are all perfect when it comes to simplifying algebraic expressions. Please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.